Okay, let's go to the next question. This question says, if the following amounts of drugs are made up to 5 grams with lactose, what is the percentage concentration of the resulting mix? So we'll take it one by one. If 100 milligram is made up to 5 grams with lactose, what is the percentage concentration of the entire mix? So we'll do it for 100 milligram, 150 milligram, 200 milligram, 300 milligram, and 500 milligram. If you look at this question, this is a case of weight in weight, because the ingredient in question is a milligram and is being diluted with lactose, which is also a weight, even though it's 5 grams, but it's also weight. Now at the end, it's now a case of weight in what? Weight. Now let's go calculate for what? 100 milligram. Unlike what we saw in weight in volume, whereby the weight must be in gram and the volume must be in mil. In weight, the weight can be in milligram, it can be in gram. But the most important thing is that both the weight of the unit, the weight of the ingredients, and the weight of the entire mix must be in the same unit. That is the most important thing. So now, what it implies is that 1%, as for what we have here now, a milligram, calculating because the amount of ingredients is a milligram. So we use that milligram we convert everything to what? Milligram. We can still convert everything to gram, but let's work with what? Milligram. So now, what it means is that 1% volume per 1% weight per weight is sentence as what? 1 milligram of the drug in what? 100 milligram of the entire mix of the mix. It can also be 1% weight per weight can also represent 1 gram of the drug in question in 100 gram of the mix. But let's work with milligram. Let's convert everything to what? Milligram. So the entire mix here is what? 5 grams. So if you to convert 5 grams to what? To convert 5 grams to what? To milligram. Remember, we have 5 grams now to what? Milligram. What will happen here is that we have between gram and milligram we have 3 decimal movements. We have three decimal movements. But here now we are moving from gram, which is higher, to a lower one, which is what? Milligram. Because we are moving from gram to what? A lower one that is what? Milligram. So the direction of the decimal movement will be to the what? To the right. Will be to the what? Right. So what we now have is that there will be a 3 decimal movement to the right for us to convert 5 grams to what? Milligram. So here we go. This here is setting as what? 5.0. So we start first movement, second movement, third movement. So we now have what? 5,000 milligram. So now 5 grams is now equal to 5,000 milligram. We have succeeded in bringing everything to what? Milligram. So we now go back to our formula. So if 1% weight per weight is equal to what? Remember, this 1 milligram in 100 milligram is accepting as what? 1 milligram over what? 100 milligram. If 1% weight to weight is equal to what? 1 milligram over what? 100 milligram. Therefore, we are looking for 100 milligram in what? 5,000 milligram. Therefore, 100 milligram in what? 5,000 milligram will give us what? X. So X is now equal to what? 1% weight per what? Weight times what? 100 milligram over what? 5,000 milligram. Right? Good. Divided by what? Because we cross multiply 1 milligram over what? 100 what? Milligram. So this will now give us what? This will now give us what? So we have something like this. 1% weight per weight times what? 100 milligram over what? 5,000 what? Milligram times what? 100 milligram over what? 1 what? Milligram. So milligram will cancel, all the milligrams will go. Milligram will cancel milligram, milligram will cancel what? Milligram. Remember here, this one comes up. This will remain as it is. This will come up to get this. So milligram will cancel what? Milligram. At the end, we get something like this. This is 5,000, this is 100. 20 here will cancel 20 here. What remaining here is 50, right? So 50 divided 100 give us what? 2. 2 times 1% weight per weight give us what? 2% what? Weight per weight. This is the percentage concentration. Percentage concentration of this drug in question in the entire mix when 100 milligram of the drug is made up to 5 gram with what? Lactose. The answer is what? 2% weight per weight. So let's solve for the next question. Let's solve for 150 milligram. Let's solve for what? 150 milligram. Let's solve for what? 150 milligram. It follows the same what? Pattern. The same what? Pattern. So we have what? That 1% weight per weight in weight is equal to what? 1 milligram over what? 100 what? Milligram. So if that is the case, we now have something like this. For 150, we have 150 what? Milligram over what? Remember, 5,000 milligram will come here. 5,000 what? Milligram is what? X. Therefore, X is equal to what? 1% weight per weight times 150 milligram over what? 5,000 milligram. Divided by what? 1 milligram over what? 100 what? Milligram. This is equal to 1% weight per weight times what? 50 milligram over what? 5,000 milligram times this will come up 100 milligram over what? 1 what? Milligram. So what will happen now? Milligram will cancel out. Milligram will cancel out. So 100 will take 20 here, will take 20 in this 5. In this 5,000, remaining 50. 50 divide 150 will give us what? 3. Yeah, that's what it should give us. So 3 times 1% weight per weight to give us what? 3% what? Weight per what? Weight. So what it implies is that 150 milligram. If 150 milligram of the drug in question is made up to 5 gram with lactose, the percentage of the drug, percentage concentration of the drug in the resulting mix will give us what? 3% weight per weight. So let's solve for 200 milligram. Let's solve for 200 milligram. 200 milligram. Okay, 200 milligram. Let's solve for what? 200 milligram. We are looking at 200 milligram here now. 200 what? Milligram. Now, on solving for 200 milligram, following the same pattern, we have that 1% weight The weight is equal to what? 1 milligram over what? 100 what? Milligram. And this is, but we are looking at what? 200 milligram over what? Over what? 5,000 what? Milligram is what? X. Therefore, X is equal to what? 1% weight per weight times 200 milligram over what? 5,000 what? Milligram. Divided by what? 1 milligram over what? 100 what? Milligram. This is something as 1% weight per weight times what? 200 milligram over what? 5,000 what? Milligram. Right? Times what? 100 will come up. 100 what? Milligram over what? 1 milligram. So what will happen now is that milligram will cancel what? Milligram. So 0 will cancel 20 here, remaining 50. 50 divided 200 will give us what? 4. Right? Yeah, it's 4. 4 times 1% weight per weight will give us what? 4% weight per weight. The same thing happens here. What it implies is that if 200 milligram of drug in question is made up to 5 grams with lactose as diluent, they are mixed well and titrate well, at the end you get a mix that will have 4% weight per weight of the concentration of the drug. Now let's go over to the next one, which is 300 milligrams. Let's go over to 300 milligrams. Let's go over to 300 milligrams. So let's start for what? 300 milligrams. The same formula. 1% weight per weight is equal to what? Is equal to what? 1 milligram over what? 100 what? Milligram. What it implies is that for 300 milligram, we now have 300 milligram over what? Over what? 300 milligram over 5,000 what? Milligram is equal to what? X. So X is now equal to what? 1% weight per weight times 300 milligram over what? 5,000 milligram all over what? 1 milligram divided by what? 100 milligram. This thing is something as 1% weight per weight times what? 300 milligram over what? 5,000 milligram. This will come up, making it what? 100 milligram over what? 1 milligram. As usual, milligram will cancel what? Milligram. This 0 here will cancel the 20 here. It meant 300 divided by 50, which is what? 6. So 6 times 1% weight per weight to give us what? 6% weight per weight. So the concentration here now is 6%. The concentration of this drug, if 300 milligram of the drug is made up, is diluted. Another way is diluted with is made up to 5 grams of the entire mix using lactose as a what? Diluent. The concentration of the drug, the percentage concentration of the drug in that mix is what? 6% weight per weight. So now let's solve the last one, which is 500 milligram. Let's solve for 500 milligram. Let's solve for 500 milligram. So 500 what? Milligram. Using the same formula. 1% weight per weight is equal to what? 1 milligram over what? 100 what? Milligram. So what it implies is this. We now have something like this. We now have but we want to solve for what? For what? We want to solve for what? 500 milligram in what? In what? 5,000 what? Milligram. Is now X. Is now what? X. So what it implies is that X is now equal to what? 1% what? Weight per what? Weight times what? 500 what? Milligram over what? 5 what? 1,000 milligram. Divided by what? 1 milligram over what? 100 milligram. This is the same thing as 1% weight per weight times 500 milligram over what? 5,000 milligram. Times this will come up 100 milligram over what? 1 milligram. So milligram will cancel milligram. We'll have milligram cancel milligram, milligram cancel milligram. 20 cancel 20 here, remaining 50. 50 divide 500. 50 divide 500. What will you give us? 50 divided 500 will give us what? 10. So 10 times 1% weight per weight to give us what? 10 what? Percent weight per weight. So if 500 milligram of the drug is made up to 5 gram of a mix using lactose as diluent, the percentage concentration of the drug in the entire mix is 10% weight per weight.